Hi, this is Bill Hitchcock, and we were working with a list of records, a bunch of albums that we had. And this time, what I'm going to do is just a few extra things that you might consider doing with your Excel sheet. And on this one, I want to take a look at how we can summarize this data. Summarizing the data, anytime that you have numeric data, you always want to be able to do some things. For example, I've got a couple of numeric fields in here. I've got the years, we've got the purchase price. Normally what I would say is down at the bottom of all of our records, this is where you'd want to put in totals, averages, minimum, maximum, and so on. So you can see I've already got a total down here for the purchase price, and we've got that. Rather than putting this down at the bottom of your sheet, what you might consider doing is actually putting this up at the top of the sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on row number 1, hold my shift key down because I want to be able to find out what's the average year, what's the average purchase price of each of these, what's the total amount that we purchased, what's the minimum, what's the maximum, things like that. So I'm going to hold my shift key. I want the total, the average, minimum, and the maximum. So I'm going to insert 4 new rows here. Right click, insert. And let's put here, we'll have total, average, min, max. For this one, this was one of the ones that we were highlighting. And let's see, I had used, I think, font size 8. It looks a little bit big here because I've got this zoomed up. So I'm going to highlight all these cells so I'm using a consistent font size and change that to font size 8. So there's my totals. Right, the totals for the year doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but the average would. So we'll do equals average, parenthesis, come down for the year. Notice I'm including the field name year. So if I would insert a record above born in the USA, it would get added to this range. Hold my shift key, end, END once, turns on the end mode down here, and my down arrow goes all the way to the bottom. I'm still holding shift. I cursor one more down to include that blank row. Hit enter, and there's our average 1982. Probably don't want to increase any decimal places on this one. Yeah, it doesn't hurt, but I don't know if it really helps all that much. So we'll just decrease the decimal. For the min, equals min, parenthesis, and same process. So the oldest album was 1970. The max. Come down to year, shift and down. Latest one was 2006 in this. And we're not going to highlight anything unless you want to do some conditional formatting. You could do that here too. Let's take and get the totals. So I'm going to sum up the purchase prices, shift and down. There's my 406.27. We can format those. And then I'm going to copy these formulas over to here. So rather than just doing a paste, then I'd lose my format. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do paste and choose the formulas. And there we've got it. So the average price per album, and I realize they're not all albums, but it was $6.45. There's our cheapest one was $199. The most expensive one was $15.98. We don't know what year those occurred in. That we could do something different to find out when it happened. This is just telling us the oldest record was from 1970. So there you've got some simple summary calculations, and it works pretty well to put those up at the top of the sheet. Now if I do my page layout, we do print titles, The rows to repeat at the top, I'm going to change that. I want to include all of these rows up at the top. And now let's try print preview. So I've got my totals there. Here's the second page. Still got those totals there. So, I mean, I don't want to have too much stuff up at the top, but sometimes it's kind of nice to have that always showing up there. So if somebody wants to see the big picture, it's always there, and then they can scroll through all the other detail as well. So I hope that gives you a couple ideas about how you can add to this, and we'll stop right there.